In the aftermath of dozens of great issues, author Zeb Wells is finally getting ready to put a bow on his landmark run over for The Amazing Spider-Man. However, one plot thread that's persisted almost throughout the entire run has involved Peter Parker and his own relationship drama. Peter Parker lost Mary Jane in the early stages of The Amazing Spider-Man and has even managed to fumble the bag on a date with Tombstone's own lawyer, as well as other characters. My name is Oracle Brannock, and today, let's go ahead and catch up with Peter Parker's latest date over in the latest issue of Amazing Spider-Man, Chapter 55. Before we get deeper into the video, I want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button over on our video review. The Amazing Spider-Man Chapter 55, of course, is still written by Zeb Wells. However, this issue features guest art over from Emilio Laiso. More on that later. We also have guest colors from Bryan Valenza, the usual letters coming in over from VC's Joe Caramagna, and the cover for the issue is still illustrated per usual on The Amazing Spider-Man from John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna, and Marcio Menyz. I think this cover is so striking. It positions John Romita Jr.'s art in a really fantastic way and references that amazing If This Be My Destiny cover over for The Amazing Spider-Man's past. Now, one thing I want to go ahead and explore on Chapter 55 of this series is guest artist Emilio Laiso. I really love some of Laiso's contributions on past chapters of Amazing Spider-Man, and as you can tell right from this opening page here with Peter Parker, Laiso is just so expressive and is able to depict so much movement and action here on the page. I love on this first chapter how we can see Peter Parker talking about his fight with the brand new Stilt Man. Also, Bryan Valenza's colors managed to capture so much detail between the blues and reds over with Peter's costume, as well as the various window lights on the backgrounds of these skyscrapers. Also, I just really want to hand it over to Laiso for drawing such an interesting sense of perspective on this chapter of Spider-Man. Another aspect to these early Spider-Man pages that comes off great across this first chapter is some of Zeb Wells' narration over for Peter Parker. I think Wells does a great job following in the footsteps of writers like Stan Lee to depict so many interesting and neurotic observations with Peter Parker. Of course, in this chapter, he's talking about winding down his fight with the Stilt Man and getting ready for a date with this character known as Shay Markin, who is actually the nurse over at Ravencroft. Another really fascinating element that's featured on some of these next pages that we don't have preview images for is the fact that Shay just does not let up over on Peter Parker. She has so many questions about his mysterious black eye and what some of his secondary activities are throughout this chapter of Spider-Man. I really love this issue because I think Zeb Wells took a super interesting cliche and managed to expand it in the concept of a greater Spider-Man issue. Due to the fact that there's been so much relationship drama with Peter Parker and some of his love interests across this volume of Spider-Man, I was so happy to finally see Zeb Wells take some momentum forward and finally position Peter Parker in a new place following his date over with Shay. So at the end of the day here, I think this incredibly settled issue of The Amazing Spider-Man did just a phenomenal job establishing Peter Parker and his relationship with a brand new character. While I really would have loved Peter Parker's relationship with characters like Michelle or Black Cat to work out in some previous installments, I'm happy that Zeb Wells is finally really trying to stick to one love interest over for Peter and bring their relationship into much different context than what we've seen in previous chapters. But I want to know from you, what are some of your thoughts over on The Amazing Spider-Man's Chapter 55? Did you like this issue as much as I did? What were some of your thoughts about the interesting dialogue and relationship drama over between Shay and Peter Parker? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for coming to check out our video review over on Amazing Spider-Man issue 55, and we'll be back to see whatever this series has in store for the near future. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.